Now, Sky News has obtained previously unreleased cabinet documents which suggest Margaret Thatcher's government tried to avoid responsibility for the contaminated blood scandal.
In the 1970s and 80s, some 2,400 people, many of them haemophiliacs, died as a result of receiving blood transfusions contaminated with HIV and hepatitis C.
Well, joining us now from central London is Liz Carroll. Now, she's the Chief Executive of the Haemophilia Society. Liz, thanks very much for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. And our health correspondent, Paul Kelso, who's leading this investigation, he spoke to Labour's former Health Secretary, Andy Burnham. He's described these revelations as shocking. What's your reaction?
I think, sadly, what these show is what the community and that are affected and us at the Haemophilia Society have suspected for many, many years, that the Department of Health have tried very hard to ensure that the truth hasn't been shared with the community affected, and that they've tried to ensure that they didn't have to pay out correct and sensible amounts of financial support to those who've been affected by this. So it's really confirmed what we think we already knew.
So what exactly has the government paid campaigners, people affected by this? Because in that memo that has been discovered by Sky News, it did say that the government had committed around £10 million, in fact, to your society, to your charity. What sort of support, financial support, has the government actually paid to people affected by this?
So there has been some money been provided by the government, initially through us and since then through other organisations, to those people directly affected. But it's nothing compared to the amount of trauma that those families have been through. This happened over 30 years ago, and so for those people, their lifelong commitment to needing to support themselves and their families is still there. So that support has never been at a level of full compensation. Many people are still living in absolute poverty. People lost their homes, their lives, their jobs, their partners lost their jobs, their children were affected. This has huge implications. But the really, really important point here is that this document shows that the Department of Health have tried very hard for a long time to ensure the community don't get the truth and the financial support they need. But currently, the Department of Health today are the department who are responsible for the upcoming public inquiry. And at the Society, we don't have confidence that they will ensure that the right thing is done in this inquiry. And I know that the community feel that too. So the Department of Health cannot be responsible for the upcoming inquiry, for setting the terms of the remit of the terms of reference. They can't be responsible for choosing who is the person who will lead this inquiry, because we have no faith that they will do that with the best interests of the community at heart. It has to be moved, and we've written to the Prime Minister several times to say she needs to act and move this to the Cabinet Office now.
So what exactly do you want the Prime Minister to do? As you said, it's the Department of Health who will be involved in this inquiry. What more do you want? How do you want this inquiry to be handled?
We need the Department of Health not to be involved in setting the remit and the terms of reference for this inquiry. We need the Cabinet Office to be the sponsoring body. Government are the people who will have to set this up and fund it, because we need a statutory inquiry that can compel witnesses. But it needs to be the Cabinet Office, so that it can be as independent as possible, so that we can ensure that the community have faith that when the inquiry takes place, it will look for the whole truth. It will ensure that all areas are investigated, that we can make sure that this can never happen again to any other community, because this is about decisions that were made, thinking about money, thinking about safety, and we need to ensure that that can never happen again.
OK, Liz Carroll from the Haemophilia Society, thank you.